Zach with Web3 Reviews. Thank you for being with us. Today, it is Thursday, April 17th, and we're going to be talking about the crypto market. Let's go. Remember that none of this is financial advice. Bitcoin sitting at $84,000. The sideways range continues. You know, as much bullish momentum as we're building, you'd think at some point we're going to break out of this range, man. And I'm not just talking about Bitcoin, I'm talking about the whole market. The whole market has been sitting in this stagnant place for quite some time. We go take a look at XRP, $2.10. Look at the last 7 days. Yeah, we're going up. Okay, you look at the last 1 month. We're actually in this range where we're down over the last month. Look at the 1 year. We're coiling up in this range, man. We're coiling up. What's there to be said about it other than the fact that this bull run is not done, but it's trying to bleed you out by going sideways forever? What move are you going to make? You're going to make your move before the market makes its move. The market could stay going sideways for so long. It can really hurt your ego, man. It can really mess with your emotions in this shit. That's why you can't be thinking about this as an overnight play. You got to think of this as a 5 to 7 to 10 to 15 year game plan. Because if you bought Bitcoin on day one and you had sold when it made its first jump or its second jump or its third or fourth jump, you wouldn't have made it this far. All right. But if you had stacked it away for 15 years and you were one of the OG Bitcoin miners, let's say you were the Bitcoin pizza guy, but instead of buying Bitcoin pizzas and put those Bitcoin away, dude, you would have 88,000 Bitcoin times $85,000. You would be so rich, it would be insane. Ethereum is sitting at 15.9. So Ethereum's in this range too. And if you look at the 1 month, it looks very similar to XRP's 1 month. I mean, it almost looks the damn same. What does that mean? We're not seeing any price movement going up. We're just seeing sideways movement. Brett says, just in, somebody just bought 7 million XRP tokens from Coinbase and transferred it to an unknown wallet. I don't know about you. Coinbase for me has a limit. It has a limit of like $40,000 per buy. Who has a $7 million limit, man? What bank are they using? You're telling me this isn't some over-the-counter deal? It's insane. This is from Jack the Rippler. President Trump wants to fire U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. The new financial system will run on XRP. Trump says the ECB is expected to cut interest rates for the 7th time, and yet too late Jerome Powell of the Fed, who was always too late and wrong, yesterday issued a report which was another and typical complete mess. Oil prices are down, groceries, even eggs are down, and the USA is getting rich on tariffs. Too late should have lowered interest rates like the ECB long ago, but he should certainly lower them now. Powell's termination cannot come fast enough. Look at this from the digital ass investor. We tried to tell everyone Ripple is no ordinary company. XRP is no ordinary digital asset. The world will find out soon. And this is from this post from Anders P. on top of Nick Crypto. Nick Crypto says, firstly, if you're not familiar with Hidden Road, it's a prime broker, basically a one-stop shop for big institutions to trade. It offers clearing, lending, and trade execution across foreign exchange, crypto derivatives, and even fixed income. In other words, it bridges traditional finance and crypto under one roof. Last week, I covered the Hidden Road purchase by Ripple, and it was said that it was one of the biggest acquisitions in crypto history. And it looks like that's panning out to be true. 4X is worth so much money annually. We're not even just talking about remittance corridors anymore or cross-border payments. We're talking about foreign exchange. We're talking about clearing, lending, trade execution, crypto derivatives, even fixed income. Dude, we have a lot of stuff that Hidden Road is going to take care of for these financial institutions. And if we thought that that one-time Coinbase buy of 7 million XRP was big, let's just see what Hidden Road enables these players to do. Because these players are moving money, man. We know that Swift is moving $1 quadrillion a year, a little bit over even. It's not just a smooth quadrillion. It's over $1 quadrillion. All right, we know that 4X is moving trillions. We know that the housing market's worth trillions. This is a big deal, man. It bridges traditional finance and crypto under one roof. XRP was always said to be that bridge asset. And Ripple's helping them get there, man. Ripple's helping them build the bridge. That way you can use the asset on said bridge. Check this post as well. So Digital Asset Investor says, credit to Fame21 More. This quote says, we are the leading enterprise blockchain company, period. Ripple's in a position that I compare to Amazon circa 1997. Books is to cross-border payments for Ripple. Know what you own, folks. Amazon 1997, man. They were growing. Bezos was pushing a product that was going to get big. And if you had any future sight, you knew it was coming down the pipeline. But in the moment, it seemed scary. In the moment, you didn't know whether it was going to succeed in its first few years of life. They even had a moment where the stock price went down 90%. They asked Bezos about this, and Bezos said, well, you looked around and we had more partnerships than ever. We had more people selling on Amazon than ever. We had more customers than ever. The only thing that was down was the stock price. This was always something that spoke to me about the XRP journey, man. We had that SEC lawsuit, and the whole time Ripple was growing. Ripple was building the pathways for this bridge asset to succeed. And the SEC was trying to stagnate that growth, man. They couldn't do it. Nobody could slow down Ripple. Ripple's like a fucking bullet train, man. Subjective Views says, does anybody else find it highly interesting that the chair of the Federal Reserve is being interviewed by our Ripple advisory board member, Raghurham Rajan, who is specifically there for RLUSD oversight?
Cryptocurrencies. How do you see the potential for more favorable regulations coming on them and potential risks from that for the system.
So we went through a wave of failures and fraud and things like that were the headlines for a couple of years. And I think what you see now is during that period, by the way, we worked with Congress to try to get a legal framework for stable coins, which would have been a nice place to start. We were not successful. I think that the climate is changing, and you're moving into sort of more mainstreaming of that whole sector. So Congress is again looking at both the Senate and the House are looking at a legal framework for stable coins. Depending on what's in it, that's a good idea. We need that. There isn't one now. And stable coins are a digital product that could actually have fairly wide appeal and should contain consumer protections of the typical sorts and transparency, and that's what the Senate and the House are working on. So that's a positive thing. I also think some of the, we took a pretty conservative, and other bank regulators took an even more conservative perspective on the guidance and rules we imposed on banks. I think there'll be some loosening of that, and I think we'll try to do it in a way that preserves safety and soundness, but that permits and fosters appropriate innovation, but that does so in a way that again doesn't put consumers at risk in ways they don't understand or make banks less safe and sound.
Former governor of the Reserve Bank of India is now on the Ripple USD advisory board. India, man, those are some guys who knew what the future site was going to be, and they didn't want the rest of their people to get there. So they locked them out from playing. And there are 30 million cryptos in existence. Imagine if India would have been turned on, man. That would have been crazy. Would have had at least 300 million cryptos. There would have been a crypto token for each person they got there, man. You would have been born and they would have given you a token with your social on, or whatever they got for socials, right? That would have been their blockchain identifier. Think about that idea. When you're born, you get a token, like let's say whatever your initials are become your token ticker, and that gets put on top of a blockchain, like you make a blockchain called the People blockchain. And the People blockchain is worth a shit ton of money, let's say. And each time somebody gets born, their token gets printed and put into this. And every time they gets paid, it gets put into this, okay? Every time they get like a social credit score, it goes up or down into this. People could invest into you. I'm just spitballing here, man. This could be big. I mean, it's almost like celebrities get tokens. But we're not talking just celebrities. We're talking investing in the slumdog millionaires of the world for real, That guy's not only going to hit the lottery, but you're going to hit the lottery by playing his token. This says the board's collective expertise spans traditional finance, blockchain technology, and regulatory affairs, positioning Ripple USD for innovation and compliance. Their oversight underscores Ripple's dedication to excellence and integrity in a world of stablecoins and digital finance. We need integrity in this world of stablecoins and digital finance, man. We can't have tethers out there running around. We can't have Sam Bankman-Fried and the FTXs out there running around. Fermito Farino, ranking the XRP ladder. Big Whale, 100,000 plus XRP. Whale, 50,000 plus. Shark, 10,000 XRP. A dolphin, 5,000 XRP. A fish, 1,000. An octopus, 500. A crab, 200 XRP, a shrimp, 100 XRP, and a no coiner, just a dead fish in the sea, man. And there's a lot of people living in that dead fish sea. We got a lot of muggles out there, man, who don't own any coins. I decided 8 years ago I would rather be a broke weirdo who had imaginary internet money than be in the dead fish sea. I think that this picture encapsulates what Ripple XRP is going to do. You think about those Jeff Bezos pictures when he was in his original office, man. You think about those photos of Bill Gates and the Microsoft guys. This is it. This is that same deal right here. This is where XRP was born. This is potentially where Bitcoin was born. A lot of great shit happened here from the mind of David Schwartz. At least know that he made XRP. Head cryptographer at Ripple, he created XRP. He went on to become the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer. I'm inspired by David Schwartz, man. I'm inspired by the Ripple team. I think they were the guys who built Bitcoin, but it's neither here nor there. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because what matters is what happened after Bitcoin. It doesn't matter what you did. It matters what you're doing. And the Ripple team continues on. They're the leader in blockchain enterprise companies. Micah Paul has got some jokes for us about the SEC lawsuit. James K. Filan says, in regards to the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, the parties' joint motion to hold the appeal in abeyance has been granted. The SEC is directed to file a status report within 60 days of the order. They have 60 days to end this shit. That's how I understand it. But Micah Paul made a funny joke. 60 more days, and then 60 days for Ripple, and then 90 days for the court, and then 90 days for the judge, and then 60 days for the clerk of court, and then 60 days for the final briefs, and then 90 days for paperwork, and then, for fuck's sake, end this bullshit already. I'm tired. It never ends, Micah. It never ends. And in the meantime, the token's just going to trade sideways, and we're just going to keep seeing bullish partnerships from Ripple. But you know what's funny about it is that the whole market's trading sideways. In the previous bull run, when the SEC sued Ripple, Ripple and XRP missed out on the party. Seemingly, everyone else continued on. The bull run continued on. The SEC stalled out XRP inevitably for that cycle. XRP went from $1.80 down to 50 cents. That was the end of XRP's bull run. In this case, this drawn out SEC case is not ending XRP's bull run. If anything, it's setting it up for an exponential explosion. What happens when you push that beach ball underwater for too long? It pops up and it goes harder than it would have otherwise. That's what's happening with the token price here. And I'm pretty sure that's an analogy that either Kevin Cage or the blockchain backer has used over the years. And it made sense to me. It's stuck in my brain. The longer the base, the higher the jump. And when you look at these trends, this sideways trend, this coiling price chart that XRP is building, you know we're going to be shooting much higher, man. I'm starting to think 7 to 13 is pretty conservative for the cycle. I can see us hitting 22 to 28. A light times 10 from here. Give us a times 10 from here and we'll see how we feel. And here's David Schwartz here. Brett Crypto posted this video. David Schwartz saying we're on the cusp of mass adoption of DeFi and blockchain technology. Go ahead and hear it from the horse's mouth.
I feel like we really are on the cusp of a mass institutional adoption, both of DeFi and of other blockchain technologies. I think this is also like one of the key obstacles to mass retail adoption. A lot of people in the space previously thought that retail adoption was like the big wave, but I think institutional adoption is a precursor. You have to connect to where people are. You have to go to where the value is. You can't build a new financial system from zero, ignoring the existing financial system where everybody's money is, where all the value is, where the real world is, trillions of dollars in value. You can't just say, oh, forget about all that. Let's just build something new over here. That doesn't work. And so I think this wave of institutional adoption over the next year or two is going to be what's going to pave the way for mass retail adoption. And then we can deliver on those promises. Like, we all want to bank the unbanked, but the unbanked, they have to be able to spend their money to buy groceries and pay their phone bill. And so we have to have that institutional connectivity. And I don't think there are any obstacles. I think that's and I think this conference shows that.
James Real XRP had a great point. So many people have never heard of XRP. That's about to change. There are only 6.4 million XRP wallets in the world. So taking what we know here, that there are 6.4 million XRP wallets, and we know that there are over 8 billion people in the world. This is data from as of 2022, Grok says. So Grok wants us to estimate that there's 8.174 billion people. We're taking the percentage here, and we don't even have 1% of the world's population with an XRP wallet. And of course, we know it's less than that because there are people like me with 3 or 4 wallets. And so you take 7 million XRP wallets, you divide that by 2 or 3, you realize that there aren't that many individual people who own XRP, all right? But even if there were, even if we just said, hey, there are 7 million people who own XRP, fine. You break that down, that's less than 0.1%, man. That's crazy. I mean, look at that percentage. 0.078%, not 7%, not 0.7 of a penny. 0.078% of the world's population has an XRP wallet as of April 17th. So Grok says we could actually take this down to 0.05%, or about 1 in every 2,000 people has an XRP wallet and owns some XRP. Grok says this highlights that XRP adoption, while growing as seen in the wallet count increase in the post graph, remains a tiny fraction of the global population. Aligning with comments in this thread like Mitch Lionheart's 6.3 million is a drop in the ocean considering 8 billion people on this planet. And there we are. I think we're going to end with that, man. XRP is going to make ripples in that ocean of 8 billion people, man. It's going to happen sooner than later because when the chief advisory board is from India and when India hasn't even turned on the switch yet for themselves, there's going to come a day when everyone in the world is able to own crypto, man. It's not going to be blocked out. Everyone's going to have access to the internet, whether through Starlink or whatever. Everyone's going to have phones. Everyone's going to be able to make microtransactions and buy crypto. To be here early is to be a winner. To be in on good assets is to be a winner. To hold for 5 to 10 years is to build that mentality of a fucking champion, man. Zach with Web3 Reviews. Thank you for being with us.